Okay, I try and start every video with a weird face because I notice when I'm looking at myself in the camera back when playing these back to me, every face every still shot, it's like me going, hey. So I'm just trying to get used to it because I'm a weird looking dude and I'm okay with that. Okay, but today we've got something very important to talk about. And that is a live radar roar example on one of my overriding goals, which I'm going to share with you my overriding goals right now. And that this is them right here. And the overriding goal we're going to be working on is separating from your instinctual core, which actually isn't one of my overriding goals, but one that I think whenever someone is working on more than one goal, they should use this as kind of the setup, like the glue that keeps them all together. Because the IC solution is realizing that popping it up, hold on there, buddy. Don't. The IC solution at the heart of it begins with understanding that we were born and we kind of grow up. Do we come into this perspective where all the thoughts and the emotions and the behaviors we carry out are our own? That's neither wrong nor right. It's just kind of the default we grow into. With the IC perspective, the IC is the instinctual core. And the instinctual core is a way of looking at ourselves as where we are not all the thoughts and we are not all the emotions and we are not all the behaviors that we're forced to carry out. Rather, we are our consciousness and our conscious brain, but there's another guy, and then we have got this massive subconscious brain. Sometimes in behavioral economics, this guy is referred to as the system one brain. They're not really the same thing in any way, but when I'm talking about it, system one brain is this thing, this dumb thing that goes on autopilot that's running our show 90% of the time. But then there is a separate, kind of like a co-pilot, that's inserting inputs into this, and that is our instinctual core. This is a culmination of all our survival instincts that uses this system one brain, this subconscious brain, having direct access to it to try and get us to do things to help us save our lives. But the problem is, it was built for a prehistoric world, a world of 30,000 years ago. And back then, it saved our species. It did all these wonderful things. It's still saving our species today by helping us jump out of the way of an oncoming bus or saber-toothed tiger, if that ever happens, but not too often. Swat that frisbee out of the way. But it also does a lot of other things and that we don't even realize, and where it's taking control, getting us pissed, getting us scared, getting us angry, forcing, sending snap judgments, snap demands, trying to get us to do things. And with the IC solution, we start to see ourselves as separate. And that separation is just at the heart of realizing, hey, all this nonsense going inside of our brain isn't necessarily us. And we don't have to feel like all of it is real. Like for me, I was a hardcore alcoholic. I could not stop drinking. There was this voice inside of my head that said, scream, go get a drink 7,000 times a day. And I eventually had to follow it until I realized there was a very specific reason the instinctual core was in charge of that and getting me to try and run to the solution of alcohol. Once I separated from it, it never had a chance again. Even though I faced 6 years where it constantly grinded away at me, making me drink all the time. And last 8.5 years, it never has it's lost all its power. And it's kind of like training a puppy inside your head. Anyways, gone on about that too long because what we're doing here is a live radar roar example. And let me exit out of this. And what the radar and roar are, and really, you should kind of be a semi-advanced user to understand what these are. You can get all this information from the quick start guide on the homepage or the IC University also on the homepage, or you could be learning about it through marketing support videos, or you can be joining the IC investigation meetups. But I'm just going to run through a live radar here. A radar is a recognizing, a dissecting, and a retraining of this instinctual core. And a roar is when we reactivate our human side to do things. And I'm not going to do the radar and roar specifically towards one of my overriding decisions, which are all coming along fantastically. I'm not going to get into those, but I'm going to do it really rather on the glue. The glue that holds them all together is that separation from the instinctual core. And what I've been doing is my metric to make sure that I'm keeping on track on this goal is to try and flip one. Do you guys hear that? It's going crazy outside. The wind and the rain. Pretty awesome. Got a good view. Um, but the radar and roar. So I'm going. Basically, I'm trying to flip one monotonous or cumbersome task each day into an exciting event. And so, we've got all these things that we've kind of got to go through for the grind of life. And it can just be a big pain in the ass and totally consume us. I asked Chat to help me with some of these things. Some of these things we have the honor of doing, some of these we don't. Dishes, laundry, sweeping, mopping, taking out the trash, cleaning bathroom, dusting, changing bed liners, if you have a bed, wiping down surfaces, kitchen cleaning, cleaning kitchen appliances, tidying up, yard work, taking care of pets, home repair, shopping for groceries and supplies, paying bills, meal prep, cleaning out the fridge, laundry, car, transportation. If you have lucky to have a car, some of these you should be honored to be doing, like yard work, if you've even got a yard. So what we call the daily grind can automatically be looked at in a different way, just saying, hey, I'm lucky just to have dishes. But that's not what I'm working on today. I'm working on a specific example of yesterday. Okay, so one of my goals down here is overcome unhealthy nutrition. So I want to be able to have meals at all times if I don't, so I don't go to the kids' junk like the nachos or the yogurt flip things that people say, oh, it's healthy because it's yogurt, but it's really just a big pile of sugar. Or you know, oh, all the desserts, all the chips, all the processed food, all the bread, all the pasta. So I want to have options. And so what I do is I go out of my way once every month and a half or so to make a whole ass ton of smoothies so that I can have them quickly at my disposal. And what I do is I go to Sam's. They've got a pretty good selection of uh, organic vegetables, and then I jump over to Sprouts to get an even wider thing. I know it'd be greater if I could go find the perfect local farmers market, and I do sometimes, but you can't always have that at your where I live at easy disposal. Okay, so I'm going to run through a radar, which is to retrain the instinctual core to because so now I've got all these veggies and I've got to grind them up. Uh, I put them through the food processor, and it basically takes forever to get them all through. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I'm Sunday morning. I'm sitting in bed and I got to go do this, and then I think, aha, I've got a monotonous task ahead of me. I'm going to convert this baby into a exciting challenge. Okay, so let's go through it. Radar and separate from the instinctual core is what we're doing. This because I want you to understand that the instinctual core it was basically the one pushing me to do this thing just because, oh, it's part of my survival. I've got to have this food. Um, and and so the things I was feeling is not necessarily just like the stress of having to do it, the demands, go do it, the judgments, get it done. And it wasn't really me. It was just kind of the obligation to get it done. I was not inspired to do it or just something. And so these are the things I was feeling to get it done. And that Monday morning, and I just didn't want to. The at the same time, I had a craving to stay in bed. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm totally letting the instinctual core run me on this, right? Um, Blending veggies. Who wants to blend veggies? And the intensity was just enough to keep me in bed. Can I identify the input that triggered the reaction? Yeah, doing it, right? But okay, so I kind of messed it up. This is the unwanted reaction. The unwanted reaction was the desire not to do the monotonous task. I don't care if the spelling is right. Um, and I identified the trigger was that I had to get it done. And I'm like, okay. And I flipped it. I'm like, holy shit, I'm totally letting the instinctual core run me here. Uh, Laying in bed saying, oh God, I don't want to do it. And I decided not to put up with it. So you know that I did not decide to have this toxic internal reaction. The toxic internal reaction was, oh, I don't want to do it. Or am I ready to investigate if the instinctual core was behind it all? And this is the ask step. So I recognize what was going on in my head. And this is the ask step where I was like, maybe it is the instinctual core that's controlling me to say this sucks and I don't want to do it. So let's dissect it to find out. And there's two elements of this. It's like the instinctual core is kind of pushing me to do it to attain the perceived treat of having this project done so that for the physiological level of having food in advance. But then there's also just the other side of the instinctual core that doesn't want me to get out of bed, and it was early Sunday morning, that doesn't want me to get out of bed so I conserve energy for when the time comes where I need to defeat that perceived threat, because the instinctual core wants you to be a couch potato, wants you to lay in bed until the time that you actually need to have that energy. It wants you conserving that energy. It wants you to be lazy as crap. And that's so that you'll have the energy to destroy the threat or avoid the threat when it shows up. And that's on the safety level for the most part, but it's really on all the levels. So what was happening? The instinctual core was trying to push, kind of pushing me to do it, but at the same time was saying, "Don't do it because it's going to suck, okay? And you're going to waste your energy." So, but was any of that an immediate survival threat? No. Okay, let me stop here for 1 second. This is not the perfect application of radar, and this is only day 13 of me going through these. So not all of it's going to make sense. I'm just working through them, but I've been through this radar hundreds of times with hundreds of different examples that are more appropriate rather than just the separation from the instinctual core. And you can always find a way to blame things on your instinctual core. So now I've made the connection from inputs to alarms going off, to a whole bunch of to the reaction to that alarm, trying to force me to do things or be ready to do things in the future. So, aha, I have been hijacked. Okay. Now, do it does now we the point of the aha step. So we've gone through radar, ask, dissect, and aha. The point of the aha step is to kind of set it into your subconscious further, where where the next time it comes up, the next obligation that you have, the next monotonous task will not control you as much. The IC will not be able to control you as much to sit on your ass and feel like it's a big pain in the ass just to do it. So we'll look at, so it's kind of like ingraining further, because our goal is to get our subconscious back where we're running the show, where our subconscious is running the show the way we want to live our life. Okay, so the activation. Does it make sense not to be doing that? Does it make sense to get that extra lousy TV show in bed? No. Does the internal reaction make sense? These demands and judgments to stay in bed? No. Does the external reaction make sense? No. There's no life-threatening thing here. And then it comes to the life aha. And when you click this, that kind of is like, I was sitting there in misery, not getting it done. Like there was this monkey on my shoulder. Don't get it done. Don't get it done. And it was like staying in bed was making me more miserable because I wasn't doing it. So at that time, it's like, aha, sitting here not doing it is making me miserable. Okay, so and that's the life. I'm like, and life comes down to a series of events where you're like, hey, if I'm doing it, and I can do it in pleasure while I'm getting things done, while I'm getting the monotonous crap out of the way, or by making it not the monotonous crap, by making it just exciting, then I'm living a happy, productive life. And the logic of the whole thing, sitting in bed because for no particular reason, while I'm being miserable and not getting anything done. Does that make any sense? No. And the beliefs, you don't need to click off this every time. But basically, when all of those, I thought about all of those, I'm like, I'm getting controlled by the IC and I don't want it. So that brings us to the final step of the reassign. and I know where I'm going with this. I'm going to the human side. I'm going to let all this nonsense pass through. That stuff that's making me not kick up and jump out of bed with life and excitement was the instinctual core. I'm going to let that pass through, and I'm going to do this project, but I'm going to take you over to a roar to do that. So roar is like we're going to let the ICs uh, don't do this horrible monotonous task, jump out of the. We're going to let it pass through us, and we're going to take over on a human path. So the final step of the radar, which is the retraining of the IC, is to just remember, although I did this really quick, it was like, oh, I get it. I'm being controlled by the IC to sit here and feel miserable about myself. Boom, screw it. I dropped that down and I'm like, I'm going to overcome that. So I just finished the successful instinctual core training session and I'm jumping straight over to the roar. And roar is where we reactivate ourselves. And this is where it gets exciting. I saw that I was controlled. The outcome was to prep my smoothies and enjoy doing it. Okay? Are you ready to turn this cumbersome obstacle run by your instinctual core to an efficient, exciting, enjoyable project led by you? Hell yeah. So, and that first picture that you just saw was kind of like the default with everything, all the alarms going off. Can I make this interesting or enticing? And what I decided to do for this when I jumped out of bed is like, hey, if I just this will waste my whole day if I just sit here in bed and then when I actually start not get motivated about it, I'm like, how can I make it interesting or enticing? And I decided to put a time limit on it. I'm like saying, I'm going to have this done in 2.5 hours. Usually it takes me about 4. Can I do that? And all of a sudden I'm on a clock and I'm like, it's like finishing a marathon or finishing, this is probably closer to uh, uh, a super OCR, obstacle course Spartan, about 2.5 hours. And although of course I do them a lot quicker. I'm a badass. All right, so can I make it? I set a clock to it by doing that. Appreciation. I'm like, okay, I've got this bounty, all this wonderful stuff that's come from the earth, made organically, without the pesticides. All this stuff is here to fuel me. I just got to prep it so that I can have this wonderful food for the next month and a half and can I turn it into a worthy challenge? And the worthy challenge was, it's kind of the the worthy challenge was, can I do it in 2.5 hours? And along the way, can I do it efficiently by doing it all in the right way? And so um, what I did was rather than going right into the grinding, I cleared out a big space, got everything ready, got the container I was going to put all the veggies into, got all the individual containers. Let me show you a picture here. Dun, dun, dun. Look at all these veggies kicking butt here. Um, so, and this is the end phase. I didn't take pictures in the beginning. So I set it up but the engagement really happens when I move into organization. I'm sorry, when I move into single focused action. And then the self-improvement, obviously giving myself 100 really healthy meals is got a lot of self-improvement and a higher purpose I'm going to give to whoever wants it to share health and wonder with them. And so that moves me on to the next phase. And this is the organized phase. And I kind of jumped into it when I was talking about the worthy challenge, but rather than just going into it and starting to grind veggies, I'm like, I cleared, and I kind of went into this already, cleared out the entire um, kitchen bar area, cleaned it up. I got the food processor in the right location. I got the little tubs that I'm going to put them in. I've got the big tub that I'm putting all of them in, and I got everything cleaned and ready to go. Organized. Yeah, I organized the hell out of it, and it didn't take me longer to do this. It took some time, about 15 minutes to get that started, but that made every step when I was actually getting ready, when I was going through the process, a lot quicker. So I organized the heck out of it. And then finally, I'm ready to move into, and I did kind of was doing roar, um, a roar quick, uh, what the hell is the damn roar called? Aurora Quick Catch because I can run through it in my head real fast. And so I didn't set up the stopwatch, but basically I got to the point where it was like 10 o'clock. I had to be done by 12, and everything's ready. And so I set my 2 hours. I'm like, and I just went away, started, boom. And that's when the the external reaction converts from where it had before destroy the threat, avoid the threat, and attain the treat. That's all the instinctual core wants out of life. Instead, you move into the grand variety of life that we as humans can participate in. And this one happened to be meal preparation, and a lot of people love this. And I was not one of them, but I found out that I was loving it. So I just sat there intensely focused. I was like, the whole time I was like, okay, can I stay? Can I get through the can I get through the carrots? Can I get through the cabbages? Can I get through the red cabbage? Can I get through the kale? Can I get through the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And just like, can I be totally a machine on this? And I was. And I got it done in the 2.5 hours. So I was uh, totally ecstatic about it. And I was excited the whole way through, even though I was just doing a monotonous chore. I was loving it. It was fantastic. So that brings us to the next phase. And here's where the reward happens. And the reward is not me going to eat a piece of cake or throwing a party because I finished it. The reward is where the instinctual core says, hey, good job, guy. You did this on your own. You didn't need my help. You didn't need me to force you to do it. You found a much better way to go about life. And this is just one example, but that's what I'm doing in all aspects of my life. So the instinctual core still rewards you for that and sends you pleasure. Did you stay on task for the allotted time? Yeah, I got it all done. Did you stay single focused through the majority of the project? Absolutely. Did you finish the intended project? I did, and I even cleaned up afterwards. Going back to this, I got them all in these individual things. I didn't have enough of my individual containers, so I bought more and so I didn't fully complete, but I was able to put these all into the my fridge in the basement, my freezer in the basement, so that they'll be ready for the next 45 days to make sure that I have, or more or less, depends on when I don't have meals, if I don't prepare it, all of them. Either way, I was wicked psyched about the whole thing, and that got me through radar and roar. You see, it took a while to do that, 22 minutes to talk you through it. But as you start to do this, this is something I was able to, right when it hit me in bed, when I was about to watch another episode of Madam Secretary or something like that, I was like, I don't want to, I'm doing nothing, achieving nothing. And this TV thing is just sucking my brain energy away. I'm going to do something. And it was just like such an inspiration where I was like, boom, like instantly shot into action where I knew the radar in my head and I knew the roar and I moved right into action and it was inspiring, man. I loved it. And that's what I'm doing since I've really just started using the IC goal tracker just about 13 days ago. I've been doing this for a long time, using it in my head, but being able to track it like this is just working fantastic, and it's changing every element of my life. And although I was very happy, it's like turning every moment into happiness. So that's what I got for you. Look, you might not understand all of this. A lot of this might have gone over your head, but it's all here for you to be able to overcome any addictions, uh, depression, anxiety, emotional, toxic emotions, but also for you to get something new started. I'm starting this full launch where I've created this IC solution and now I'm launching it to the world. That's what I'm starting here. And one of the things was getting over my camera fear, which after 13 days, I basically have none. I'm starting my new diet and I'm re-energizing my exercise program. And of course, overcome alcohol addiction. I just put this down here. You see a low priority. But point is, you can do this all too. And if you like this video, that'll help us reach more people. And if you subscribe, you can be kept up to date on all these things. I'm going to be hitting a lot of hardcore topics, ways that you can make changes in your life. But if you're ready to start making the changes in your life, come and join us at theinstinctcenter.com. We meet up together. I mean, this is these talking to the camera right now while I'm just getting started. But I'm actually, I'm posting a few videos today and I'm actually starting to get a bunch of views and likes. So I think these meetups I'm going to be on, on pace to get, uh, actual meetups going really quick. So yeah, come join, be a part of it. It saved my life. It can change your life and maybe save your life too. If you're in a rut, uh, I think we can do some. I think I can help you change. And it's all free. So do it. All right. Peace out, my friends. Adios.